has this ever happened before? Yes, yes. Spiro Agnew under President Nixon. And of course, most people, they think about Nixon, they only think about Watergate and the break in. But the other thing that was overlaid on that or underlaid was Spiro Agnew and the concerns that, he had criminality and some bribes in there. And so he had to be removed from office because of this, and he stepped down out of the vice presidency because of, being prosecuted for these criminal acts. And so there was a constitutional crisis that laid the groundwork for removing a vice president, not a president, and then installing a replacement vice president. And in that process, the person that became the replacement vice president was Nelson Rockefeller. When I talk to people about this, and I've mentioned this a number of times over the last couple of years, and they all go, "Oh no, it was Ford, and then he went from the vice presidency to the presidency." I'm like, "No, you don't remember your history very well." I was paying very close attention in those years. I remember all the dramas. Okay, and so Spiro Agnew gets taken out, and then Nelson Rockefeller is put in as the vice president. Now, within the conspiracy community, there's a little bit of interesting drama there. Nixon was approached by Goldwater, and Senator Goldwater told Nixon, he says, "It's over. You've got to step down. The Watergate stuff, it's reached the point where staying in office is not an option. You're going to have to step down." And so Nixon says to Goldwater, he says, "Hey, there's no way I'm stepping down, letting that bastard Nelson Rockefeller, unelected, move from the vice presidency to the presidency. I will not do that. I will not do that to the American people." For all that some people think that Nixon, what a horrible guy, and I've heard all the bad stuff, Nixon would not allow Nelson Rockefeller, who had run for the presidency and lost a couple of times, wouldn't let him have that position. And Nixon made the threshold for stepping down from the presidency that they had to come up with a way to put somebody else in as president. And so the agreement was to bring Ford in and make him the president, and Nelson Rockefeller remain the vice president. He couldn't, unelected, go to the presidency, and that was Nixon's legacy. And so once that agreement was made with Goldwater's assistance, then Nixon agreed to step down, and Ford became the president. And there's a lot of other drama there concerning the formula that Nixon wrote on a courier's body, papers that were taped to a courier's body and then concealed, and he delivered that to Henry Kissinger, who then delivered it to David Rockefeller, and it was the formula from Tesla for free energy. And that was the threat, because why? The Rockefeller crowd was the oil people, energy people, and if they did anything to come back against Nixon after the fact, after he was out of the presidency, Nixon would release that. And in fact, that's the time capsule Nixon still has for use later in time that is still in place. And by the way,
wow.
By whom? By whom? Who schooled Donald Trump on how he would be attacked, who the attack would come from, and what he would have to do once the attack started? It was Richard Nixon. After Nixon left the presidency, he was the one that became very good friends with Donald Trump, and schooled him on everything that would happen and how he'd get attacked and things he could do before he would run for presidency to protect himself and give himself good ammo for the fight to Take Back America. And I know there's people out there rolling their eyes and taking deep breaths. Are you sure? Are you kidding me? Really? Do you know what Trump had over his left shoulder in the White House while he was in the Oval Office? He had a letter framed in his office from Pat Nixon. And Pat Nixon, President Nixon's wife, wrote in a letter, she said, I hope someday you decide to run for the presidency. I know if you do, you will be a great president.
Wow.
Trump was schooled by Nixon on a lot of what was going to happen and happened. Remember, Spiro Agnew got taken out in the Nixon presidency. Right now, and it's hitting the press, but I've been on this, I've mentioned this